morning students, how are you all? I hope that you all are safe and fine in this pandemic COVID-19 situation. Take care of yourself, take proper precautions in this way. Drink hot water thrice at least in a day and listen to your parents. And try to complete the studies whatever you are getting from the schools. Learn the lessons, and in this way it will possible to you to increase your vocabulary for reading or learning purpose. So today welcome back to our standard 6 subject history. Till the time we have seen the lessons, that is, first lesson we have seen the Indian subcontinent and history. Second we have seen sources of history. In third lesson we have learned about Harappan civilization, and the fourth lesson we have learned about the Vedic civilization, and we have learned different types of Vedas in previous period. So today in this period I am going to explain you lesson number 5, religious trends in ancient India. So which type of ancient trends were the religious trends were there in previous periods that we are going to learn in this lesson. So let's before starting this lesson, which points we are going to discuss today. Just see, that is Jainism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Zoroastrianism. Now all these topics we are going to learn today. So what that particular these Jainisms, what they teach us about everything, not only Jainism but about this all 6 points, what they teaches us, how we have to behave in our society, that all explanations we are going to get today from this lesson. So let's start the lesson. Lesson number 5, religious trends in ancient India. Religious trends in ancient India. So let's start lesson. Towards the end of the Vedic period, the minute details of yajna rites required unto importance, and only the priestly class had knowledge of those details. Others no longer had the freedom to gain that knowledge, and the Varna system restrictions become very hard in the course of time. Now we have seen previously in that previous chapter that we have learned about Vedas, and mostly we have seen the priests, those who are belong as a priest, they were having more knowledge about that particular religious, and anyone other person was not having rights that they can give this type of knowledge, and because of that Varna system was become restricted. A person's social position was decided by the Varna into which he was born rather than by his achievements. That is why from the Upanishad period we see that attempts were made to give a wider scope to religious thoughts and not to restrict it only to younger rites. However, the thoughts in Upanishad focus on the existence and nature of the soul. It was difficult for ordinary people to understand it. This gave rise to different sects that emphasize the worship of particular deities. For example, the Shaiva sect of Shiva worshippers and the Vaishnava sect of worshippers of Vishnu, and different Puranas were written with difference in these deities. Now, see, if you will see, you will come to know for the word purpose, different type of sects happens, and for example, they have given, means they were giving importance according to their peoples, they were giving importance to their particular goddess, that is called the word as a deities. Deities means goddesses, god or goddesses. So, for example, they have given that is Shaiva, that sect, Shaiva sect, they were worshipping to Shiva, and for that purpose they were belongs to Shiva. They were worshipping to Shiva. Vaishnava sects, they were worshippers of the Vishnu, and different Puranas were written with the reference in their deities. And in this way, if you will see different Puranas, they have written with the reference of different different deities, that is god and goddesses. Certain trends around the 6th century BC made attempts to express religious thought to such a way that the common man would understand it easily. And in that before that time, it is written properly so that common man should understand what is exactly written in these books. And many people realize that every person is free to find ways of their own upliftment. This led to the establishment of new religions. And these religions emphatically stated that discriminations on the basis of caste has no place in an individual upliftment. And the work of Vardhaman, Mahavir and Gautama Buddha is of a special importance among the proponents of new thoughts. Now, if you will see, when they were worshipping different kinds of goddesses, that is deities, that time they were mostly giving focus on the religions. And this way, it was everyone they were trying to uplift their own feelings, and according to they were trying to go on that track. And these things was not taken by some other different types of peoples, and mostly they were giving equal status, means this religious in particular stated were discrimination. Now because of religions they were showing discrimination, means there was not status a proper stability in the peoples. Everyone was following the different religions, and because of that the discrimination means inequality we can say that was founding in the religions. And because of that, this on the basis of that discrimination there was they not given more important to the religions. And if suppose anyone want to upliftment, we should not give more importance to these things. Instead of that we should give importance to the equality. Okay. Now, the work of here in this lesson we are going to learn about, see, the work of Vardhaman Mahavir and Gautama Buddha is a special importance. Here Vardhaman Mahavir and Gautama Buddha, they are given here more importance. Why? Because they were the proponents of new thought, and they were not thinking about the particular religion, but they were following, they were giving attention towards the equality. Now we are going to see particular that one more topic, that is Jainism. How that Jainism and what was the teaching of that Jainism. Jainism is one of the ancient religions in India. This religion gives importance to principle of non-violence. See, Jainism is one ancient religion, but it was previously in the Jainism is one of the ancient religion of the India. And in that what they are focusing or they are giving importance the principle of non-violence. Non-violence means no violence. Okay. And according to the Jain tradition, a person who reveals religious knowledge is known as a Tirthankar. Now, according to this Jain tradition, who is giving or who is revealing the religious knowledge about that religion, that is called as a Kirtankar. And there have seen 24 Kirtankars in all. And overall, if you will see in Jainism, there are 24 Kirtankars. There have been 24 Kirtankars in all. And Vardhaman Mahavir is the 24th Kirtankar in the Jain religious tradition. And Vardhaman Mahavir, he was a 24th, means you can imagine before that 23 this type of Vardhaman did, Kirtankar did, and this Mahavir Vardhaman, he was on 24th Kirtankar in that Jain religion. Now Vardhaman Mahavir, see, we are going to learn about Vardhaman Mahavir. There was a Mahajanpada known as a Virji in what is known as the state of Bihar today. Now there you can see one Mahajanpada, it is known as a Virji, and this Virji is at present in the state of Bihar today. Its capital was Vaishali. What was the capital of that? It was Vaishali. And Vardhaman Mahavir was born in Kundagram, a part of Vaishali. Now Mahavir Vardhaman, he took birth or he born in the in what? Kundagram, which is the part of Vaishali. And his father name was Siddharth and mother name was Trishala. His father name was Siddharth and mother name was Trishala. Now, Vardhaman Mahavir left his home and all comforts for the attainment of knowledge. He attained enlightenment after 12.5 years of rigorous tapa. The knowledge was pure or level, and therefore he is known as Kevali. He was called Jina or conquer because the joy derived from physical comforts and discomforts felt due to undesired things had no impact whatsoever on him. Now see here that in first para we have learned about his family, his born. Now after what he did, see, Vardhaman Mahavir left his home and all comforts, all attainment of his knowledge, and he attained after 12.5 years a rigorous tap. And in that tap he got whole knowledge of pure or keval, and therefore he is known as a keval. He got in that time whole knowledge, and so that he is called as a Kevali. And he was called Jina conqueror, and he was called as a Jina or conqueror because the joy derived from physical comforts. Because according to him, he was thinking that joy, whatever we are getting, it is from the physical comforts. And the discomfort felt due to the undesired things. And discomfort felt because of the undesired things. The term Jain derives from the word Jina. Now, how the name came? That Jain word is derived from Jina. And Vardhaman is said to Mahavir because he said he had the resilience. Now, why that Vardhaman is changed into Mahavir? Because he had the resilience. How he was resilience? The courage to conquer all passions. He had courage to conquer all the passions. Means he got more, he got success on all the passions. After the attainment of knowledge, he preached for about 30 years to explain the essence of religion to people. And from that time onwards, after his 30 years, he explained the knowledge about his religion to the people. To make it easy for people to understand it, he spoke to them in Ardham Gathi, a people's language. Now, people was not understanding the different languages, so that in people's language only, he started teaching them that knowledge. The religion that he expanded laid stress on good conduct, and the essence of teaching for good conduct is contained in 5 great vows, Pancha Mantras. Now, whatever knowledge he passed towards others, that was called as here given 5 great vows. It is called as a Pancha Mahavrat. Then 5 great vows, Pancha Mahavratas, and the 3 jewels, 3 Ratna. And second one he has written, that is 3 jewels. It is called as a 3 Ratna. The assembly held by the Tirthankar to preach to people was known as Samavasran in Ardhan Nagadi. Now, whatever the Tirthankar was preaching means to give speech related to the regions or religious things, it is called as a preach. Okay, so that Tirthankar was, that assembly was going heading for Tirthankar. Why? To explain, to preach the peoples about their religion. And mostly that Samavasran was based on equality. This Samavasran, it was based on equality, and people of all Varna had entered to it. Now, they were not keeping that this Varna should enter in their Jainism. It was free entry for everyone, those who wanted to take entered in there. Now the Pancha Mahavratas. What was the Pancha Mahavratas? See, the five great vows. These are five rules to be followed strictly. They kept five rules that all people should strictly they should take care of this, or they should follow that five rules. Which were that five rules? See, first one, ahimsa. Ahimsa, that is non-violence. No living being should be hurt, injured, or harmed through one's behavior. No living beings, any might be bird, animal, people. No living beings should be hurt through the one's behavior. When we are doing any behavior, so anyone, might be human being, might be bird, might be animal, anyone should not be getting hurt with our behavior. Second, that is satya, that is truth. Every speech and action should be truth. Every action and speech should be truth. Third one, that is asteya. What is asteya? Non-stealing. Asteya means theft, and taking what belongs to other without their consent is theft or stealing. Asteya means not stealing anything. Now, according to that, asteya means what? Not stealing. Means anyone should not steal anything. Means you should not steal anything. That was the third Panch Mahavratas. Fourth one was aparigraha. What is aparigraha? See, non-attachment. Man tends to accumulate properly due to greed. And aparigraha means not hoarding or accumulating anything in this way. Means anything, non-attachments means anything, property due to the greed. Greed means what? Greed means we are keeping desire in our mind that we want this, we want this. So that is called as a more desire about any things, that is called as a greediness. So we should not keep greediness about other things. And fifth one is that brahmacharya, that is chastity. It means living bodily pleasures and following the vows. What is brahmacharya? Chastity, that is, it means living bodily pleasure. Whatever our bodily pleasures are there, pleasures means happiness, that bodily pleasures we have to live and follow the vows, and we have to go towards only God's worships. We should not take any bodily pleasures. Now, three ratna. What was the three jewels? See, the three jewels are the three principles. That one was Samyak Darshan, that was right faith. Second was Samyak Jnan, that was right knowledge. And third one was Samyak Charitra, that is right conduct. And Samyak means balance. Means in short, balanced right faith, balance means right knowledge, and balanced right conduct. That is called as a Three Ratna. Now, what was that? See, number one, Samyak Darshan means we have seen here balance. Okay, to understand the truth in the preaching of the Tirthankar and to have faith in it. Means whatever we are listening from the Tirthankar, we should listen to that and we should keep trust or faith in that. Second was Samyak Jnan. What was that? Studying the preaching and philosophy of the Tirthankar regularly and learning its deep meaning. Whatever the Tirthankar is giving preach to us, that or philosophy of that Tirthankar, regularly we have to listen to it and we have to learn it deeply. Third one, Samyak Charitra. What was that? Strictly following the five great vows. Whatever five great vows they have given, strictly we have to follow that. Now, essence of his teaching. What was the importance of the teaching of that Jainism? See, among the teachings of Mahavir, Anekantavada is considered to be very important in the quest for truth. It means pluralism or multiple viewpoints. In our quest for truth, If we focus on only one or two aspects or viewpoints and draw conclusions, the whole truth is not known. Therefore, it is necessary to pay attention to all aspects of an issue. If people follow this, they develop tolerance towards the opinion of other people in society and give up the attitude of stubborn adherence to their own opinions. Now see, truth was given more important in their religion. Mostly here given in this first paragraph that if suppose we want, if we want to give our opinion on others' problems, so not only one part we should learn whole the story or whole the part of the first persons, and then only it will possible that give our opinions in that society. Vardhaman Mahavir taught the people that the greatness of man does not depend on his worth, but on his excellent conduct. Now, Vardhaman Mahavir, he taught the people that greatness of man, it is not depend on the Varna, but it is depend on how the person is behaving or how the person is conducting. Now, in the Vedic tradition, the doors of knowledge had slowly been closed for women. See, in Vedic tradition, we have seen in last lesson or last chapter that for women the doors were closed. But Vardhaman Mahavir gave the right of sannyas, the right to renounce the world to women too. His teaching were love all living things and have mercy and compassion and live and let live. Now he opened the door for the women, which was closed in the Vedic period for women. And what his teaching was, his teachings were love all living things, means you have to love towards all living things. Second, have mercy and compassion, you have to mercy means pity. Okay, you have to do mercy on all and compassions and live and let live means live, other animals you live and let them live. So, in this way we have learned today the topic Jainism, and now second topic we are going to start about Buddhism. So what we have seen in Jainism we have learned about the Pancha Mahabharatas, then after we have learned about Three Ratnas, we have learned the essence of his teaching. So now secondly we are going to learn about Buddhism. So, Buddhism spread in India and is many countries outside India. Gautam Buddha was the founder of Buddhism. Now, as we all know that Gautam Buddha was founder of Buddhism, and Buddhism spread in whole India and in many countries outside of India. Gautam Buddha was born in Lumbini in Nepal. Where he born? Gautam Buddha was born in Lumbini in Nepal. And his father name was Shuddhodana and mother's Maya Devi. His father name was what? Shuddhodana and mother name was Maya Devi. His birth name was Siddhartha. Previously his birth name was Siddhartha. He had attained knowledge of human life in his entirety, and that is why he came to known as Buddha. Now previously his name was what? Siddhartha, but he had attained all the knowledge about the human life in his entire life, and so that his name today we are called as him as Buddha. He wanted to know why there is sorrow and suffering in human life. He left his home and all comforts in pursuit of answer to his question. Now he wanted to know that why person is going in sorrow, why person is facing many problems and difficulties, and because of that he gave whole his life, he gave up his life and his home, and he left his home and all comfort in pursuit of answers to the question. He wanted to know the answers of these all questions, and so that he lived his home and all his comfort. On Vaishakha Purnima, he was sitting in deep meditation under a peepal tree at Uruvela near the city of Gaya in Bihar. And because of this, to finding the answer of this question, one day on Vaishakha Purnima, he is sitting a deep meditation. Meditation means what? We are closing our eyes and we are going deeply in that thinking of the words or whatever we want the exact answers. So same way on Vaishika Purnima, Gautam Buddha he was sitting there and he went in deep meditations under that people tree at Uruvela near the city of Goa in Bihar. And that is when he attained Bodhi, enlightenment for highest knowledge. What was Bodhi? He attained there Bodhi. What was that? It is about highest knowledge. The tree is now known as Bodhi tree. And nowadays, Gautam Buddha was sitting there downside of the triple tree, and that tree is called as a Bodhi tree. And the place Uruvela is known as Bodh Gaya, and that place is called as a Bodh Gaya. He delivered his first sermon at Sarnath near Varanasi. Now, if you will see, he delivered his first sermon at Sarnath near Varanasi, and his teaching in the first sermon are termed that is Dhamma. Now see what is meant by sermon. It is meant by that section or the topic that whatever the first sermon at Sarnath near the Varanasi and his teaching in the first section, it was termed as a Dhamma. And he set in motion in will of Dhamma in his sermon. And therefore this event is called as Dhamma Chakra Pravartan in Pali and Dharma Chakra Pravartan in Sanskrit. Now, because of that, event is called as Dharma Chakra Pravartan in Pali and Dharma Chakra Pravartan in Sanskrit. In Pali, it is called as a Dharma Chakra Pravartan in Pali, and in Sanskrit it is called as a Dharma Chakra Pravartan. Later he travelled on foot for nearly 45 years to preach Dharma, and for 45 years he started preaching about the Dharma, and he preached in the people's language Pali. And in Buddhism, the concept of taking refuge in Buddha Dharma and Sangha is important. Now he preached people's languages in Pali, and in Buddhism, the concept of taking refuge means to deny, refuge in Bauddha Dharma. And Sangha is important. He refused that Dharma, but he accepted that Sangha, and he given importance to that. It is known as a Trisharan, and it is called as a Trisharan. The essence of the Dharma he expanded is as follows. The importance of Dharma is according to him. See, that first one is given Arya Aristas, it is called as Noble Truth. Arya Satyas, it is called as a Noble Truth. There are 4 truths at the root of all human affairs. They are called as a Noble Truths or Arya Yastras. Now, whatever the 4 truth, it is depend on the human affairs, and that is called as a Noble Truth. First one is Dukkha, that is suffering, Dukkha. There is a suffering in human life. Everywhere there are more sufferings in human life. The cause of Dukkha, there is a cause of suffering. Why we are suffering, why we are going from that Dukkha, why we are suffering, that is everyone is having cause. Third one, Dukkha Nivaran. Dukkha Nivaran means what? It is possible to end suffering. It is really possible that we can end our suffering. And Pratipat. What is Pratipat? Pratipat means the way. This way leads to the end of suffering, and this is the way of good conduct. It is known as the Ashtamic or Eightfold Path. Now, Pratipat means what? It's shown the ways. and this way leads the end of suffering. And this is the way which way if you will go, it is possible that you can end your sufferings. And this is the way of good conduct. Which for that purpose, which way you have to accept? The way of good conducting. When you will accept the way of good conducting, that time only your all suffering will get ended. It is known as a Ashtangic or eightfold path, and it is known as a eightfold path, or it is called as a Ashtangic. Now, Panchashil, Gautam Buddha asked people to follow 5 rules. Now he informed the people to follow 5 rules, which were they? Number 1, stay away from killing animals. Don't kill animals. Second, stay away from stealing. Don't steal. Third, stay away from unethical conduct. Means whatever unethical conducts are there, stay away from that. Number 4, stay away from telling lies. Don't speak lies. Stay away from intoxicant. Just don't do that intoxicant. Then this way he teach his people, don't steal, don't kill the animals, don't steal, don't unethical conduct, then stay away of telling lies, and last he inform about intoxicants. Now both the Sangha, he created a Sangha of bhikkhus to preach his religion. He prepared one Sangha of bhikkhus and they were giving information or preaching about their religion. Followers who gave up their domestic life and entered the Sangha were called bhikkhus. The followers who gave up his domestic life and entered in that Sangha, they were called as bhikkhus. And they too traveled on foot like Buddha to preach Dharma to the people. And the followers of the Buddha, they were also that book because they were also going, means they were also traveled on foot to preach like Gautam Buddha. There was a separate Sangha of women and it was called as a bhikkhunis. And they were, for women they kept separate Sangha. The man Sangha, it was called as a bhikkhus, and the woman Sangha, for them they were calling as a bhikkhunis. People of all varnas and caste could embrace Buddhism, and because of that all the caste of woman and man, they embraced to Buddhism, means they went to Buddhism. Now essence of his teaching. What was the teaching of Buddhism? See, Gautam Buddha announced the freedom of human intelligence. Now Gautam Buddha given the freedom of intelligence, and he refused the discrimination based on the things like varna, and he never accept the discriminations among that varna. And no one is greater or smaller by birth. Greatness depends on one's behavior or conduct. According to varna, anyone is not great or anyone is not small, but it is depend on his conduct or on his behavior. Even the little quail can chirp freely in her nest. They shown this thinking on the values of freedom and equality. Even the small sparrow, he can also chirp freely. And this sentence, it shows us the freedom and equality in his religion. He preached that like man and woman too had the right to their own upliftment, and he opposed the ritual of yojana. And his teaching of wisdom, that is prajna, moral virtue, shil, and other values are aimed at the welfare of man. And he preached like man and woman, they both are having right, they can take their upliftment of their own life. And he opposed the rituals of yajna, which was following in the Vedic period. And he teaching of wisdom, that is called as a prajna, moral virtues, that is called as a shil, and other values are aimed at the welfare of the man. That is compassion, karuna for all living beings was an extraordinary features of his personality. Compassion, that is karuna for all living beings, it was a features of his personality. And the tolerance preached by Gautama Buddha, is a guiding principle not only for the Indian society but for all mankind even today. And according to this, whatever he teach, it is not only for particular religion but it is for whole mankind. Lokaya, the ancient train of thought known as Lokaya or Charva is also important. It emphasized independent thoughts and rejected the authority of Vedas. They rejected both the independent thoughts and rejected the authority of Vedas. In the ancient period, new religious trends and thoughts went on emerging in India, and later on, religious like Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Zoroastrianism also take root in the Indian society. So first today we have seen about Jainism and Buddhism. So related part that Judaism, Christianity, Islam and other parts we are going to see in the next part of our lesson. I hope you understand the lesson. Lesson is very easy. So before that, try to read once or twice and try to solve the activities on that two topics, that is Jainism and Buddhism. Remaining parts we are going to continue in the next period. So we stay this.